So it's been kind of crazy this morning. They have definitely been very, very finicky. On the live scope, you can see them run up, play with it. Dude, looks like they're like licking it.
So we're going lake trout fishing. That's got to be a Coke too.
I got you that time.
Check this out. That's a spool of Coke right there.
In this episode, we're talking lake trout pups, October, November. Spawn is just finishing up. It's the perfect time to get on them. First off, I'm going to start with Colton on the Utah side, and then I'm headed up to Wyoming with my friend Rob.
This is a little nicer laker.
So another pupper.
Yeah.
So we moved off the spawning areas and over to these cliffs, and these guys have been far more active. So Colton just changed up to a yellow banana spoon, yeah.
Uh-huh.
And pretty much immediately got this one in the first couple minutes. Colton, we're pretty much just, I mean, there's different ways to do this. You can cast towards shore, kind of work back. I've had a bunch of hits doing that. You're getting them vertical jigging, using some of the same old kind of banana spoons. We've used some loony baits, some soft plastics, but for me, how do you find them? What are we looking for structure-wise to find these guys in this time of year, in October?
Rocky areas, drop-offs, that goes from 30 to 50 feet or 50 to 90 feet. Just a lot of depth changes and structure.
So it's been kind of crazy this morning. They have definitely been very, very finicky. So on the live scope, you can see them run up, play with it. Looks like they're like licking it, and then they run away. Where most of the fish this morning have been so lethargic, that guy just came and hammered it.
Yeah, he was hooked before him and I knew it. Maybe.
All right, I'm just gonna say maybe not the most ideal rods for the day.
And he's gone.
These little ice rods with the way they're behaving. A little bit tougher. Might have wanted to go with a little longer rod. Maybe a little stiffer action with these little lakers. So when they're this finicky, when they're just playing with it, any thoughts on changing up your jigs, being consistent with the jig?
No, I mean, if they're circling the jig and stuff, I mean, they're interested. It's just a matter of time before they bite. And we've had plenty of action here for sure. Most of it's been my fault not hooking them.
Yeah, like that guy just touched it. That guy touched it.
Oh!
Now, we've had the curse of the camera. The couple times I turn it off, we hook one. If I keep it on, we miss them.
I missed him again.
Yeah. Oh, he came up hard to it again. Here we go. That one came back. I wouldn't be surprised if this is a rainbow right here, because rainbows often like to hit and then return. And that is exactly what it is. Compare rocky areas from like summertime, because we're still finding them in those kind of cliffy rocky areas in the summer. Seems like when we did the summer lake trout, we were really finding them in like 80, 90 feet.
So some similar areas, but yeah, your depth's definitely going to change. Right now we can get lake trout anywhere from 20 to, you're still getting them 80, 90, but you're going to find them a lot shallower than you do in the summertime for sure.
So we're down here on the Utah side, actually right here at the entrance of the gorge pretty much. So what are the differences that you've noticed in terms of like population of lakers from the northern part up in the Wyoming side down on this side? It seems like, in my experience, I find a lot more of these pups up on the Wyoming side.
So there are a lot more bigger pups, you know, the size that we've been catching today. You'll find the majority of them on the Wyoming side for sure. Here we're seeing a lot. We're seeing a lot of smaller pups, you know, 14, 16 inches and under even.
Hey guys, it's important to remember, whether it's a pup or puppies, we're just looking for numbers out here to help remove them from the system. And even the little guys are good eaters. You know, it's kind of like catching a high mountain brook trout, you know, lake trout or char, and kind of cook them in similar ways. You could even skin them. And later I'm going to fish with my friend Rob and show you how to do that. So you notice Colton's doing the small jigs right here. This seems to be the trick today. Some days you get them on the bigger jigs. Seems like the last few days of they've done this. They've wanted it just twitching almost, just real small jigs. When we move a little bit, we might not move super far, but as soon as we move, we have a little more active fish come flying in there, and then the fish that are hanging around just kind of wishy-washy.
Yeah, so you know, if you move every so often, you're normally going to catch a fish right after you move. Something new for them to look at, and after a little while they have seen it or the same fish, so you move again and hit a new batch of fish.
A little bit of a slow morning. We caught pups, rainbows, and burbot. Now I'm going to head up to Wyoming with my friend Rob. He fishes lake trout all the time and is pretty technical about it. We're going to learn some of his tips and tricks.
So I've got a double rig here for a couple reasons. I've got a 1/2 ounce or 3/4 ounce tungsten jig on the bottom. And I went to tungsten just because you end up with a smaller jig head that'll fit in these 2.5-inch tubes. And then I go up about 24 to 36 inches. And I have a T-knot, and you can just Google that. But it's a pretty cool knot, easy to tie with a short loop. And I've got a 2.25-inch tube on a small jig, smaller hook. This is a 1/0 hook on the big jig. This is a size 6 maybe, size 4 maybe hook on the small jig. But the advantage to this is this heavier jig helps me get down quick. It attracts some days the bigger pups, the 17 to 23-inch fish I catch on this. The smaller jig catches pretty regularly those little puppies. But on some days when the fish are kind of neutral, negative, they're really not wanting to bite, I'll catch all the fish, the bigger pups and the small puppies on that small jig. And what people need to remember is what I'm calling puppies, the lake trout less than 17 inches out here, they're consuming over the course of a year, about 15 to 17% of their diet over the course of a year is kokanee. So they're eating those small kokanee out there before they ever have a chance to grow up and return to anglers or be food for the trophy lake trout. So when people are out fishing, they need to be harvesting not only the bigger pups, the 17 to 23, but harvest those little fish, and we'll talk later about how to process and what you can do with them. Those, and like this early, got a UV light to help them glow over the years, and one of the things I've decided is I like a little bit longer rod for this jigging. This is like 6.5 or 7 foot, and I like a medium light power, and then a fast action rod. And I'm using pretty light line. This is like 10 pound Power Pro, and then I've got a fluorocarbon leader on there. And I've found that I tighten my drag pretty much all the way down when I'm jigging, and so that when I set the hook I actually get full penetration, and then I quickly loosen the drag to a point that's gonna allow me to fight the fish, especially if it's bigger, so it can take a little bit of line if it wants to.
Now, Rob, I'm guessing because the straight's so light, I'm guessing you don't want much stretch in your line.
No, you don't want to use things like monofilament that stretch. You want some kind of a super line, fluorocarbon, or one of the braids. There's a lot of different options out there, but that non-stretch line is critical, one, for the sensitivity you need to feel the bite from these fish, but also just when you set the hook, you don't want that line stretching when you're trying to set that hook, because you're not gonna get it buried. You know, we've watched people over the years fishing with monofilament, especially on the ice. You get them hooked, you get them halfway up, and they come off because you haven't buried it all the way into the jaw.
About how much fluorocarbon lengthwise?
It varies a lot. I don't think the length of fluorocarbon is magic, but you're going to want probably at least 4 or 5 feet at a minimum. We got 2 or 3 down there right now. So I'm just working the fish at the different depths. One of the tricks to fishing these guys is trying to watch your line. It's a miss. Trying to watch your line all the time. Because a lot of times they'll grab that lure and they'll lift up, so you'll either feel slack in your line or you'll see your line sort of ball up or go slack on the surface. So anytime you just feel anything different, you need to set the hook on these fish. We got a couple down there. One of my tricks in jigging a lot of the time is just to drop all the way to the bottom. Find the bottom. Drop to the bottom and just kind of slack line, bounce and wiggle that lure on the bottom, lifting it ever slightly, and then just lift up a little bit, and a lot of times that'll elicit a strike. Otherwise, it's doing little bitty jiggles of the rod tip, trying to get a response out of the fish. Sometimes I'll do big lifts. And when I do these especially, I'm trying to watch that line and watch for it to stop moving, stop going down when it should be. And that'll be an indication I've had a bite, or that a fish has the lure in its mouth.
So do you generally find they hit it on the drop?
A lot of the time they hit it on the drop. The bite I had earlier was one of those rarer bites where it just came in and I felt a small tap and just wasn't quick enough to get that hook into them. But just on this flat, and these fish come up on these flats, it's about 70 feet deep right here. There's several fish down there. They're not cooperating at the moment. There he is. An important thing everybody always talks about, don't leave fish to catch fish. These little lake trout are so abundant across all these cliff habitats, especially in this late August through basically mid-November window, that even if you have fish under you and they're not biting, just go ahead and just start slowly moving, looking for a new group. Because what we find is you might pull in on 30 or so fish, but only 3 or 4 of those fish at any given time are really active and are going to hit. So you pick off those few active fish and then move, and you might only move 50 feet, maybe a little more, maybe a little less, and to where you find another group of fish that are more active and are going to provide you opportunity. And you can't find yourself on the sonar units. Really, your only resort at that point is just to find bottom. So there I finally found bottom. And reel up just a little bit. I know lake trout are predominantly bottom oriented. They do of course suspend, but they do spend a lot of time close to the bottom. So you're letting down, you're just not in the cone of your sonar unit, go find bottom and just work that 5-10 feet above the bottom, and if they're down there, you're going to have success. I'm trying to just back myself up. They're just on the lip of the flat right before it drops into the river channel, and that's one of the things people are going to want to look for, these habitats that are immediately adjacent to that deep river channel habitat, because that's one of the places these fish like to be. They like to be up in that 60, 70 foot of water, but they like that 100, 120 foot of water close by for them to retreat to when they feel like it. Got one hooked up here finally. We'll see if we can get him to the surface. Feel like a big one, but
Oh, if we're after puppies,
yep.
big's not.
Pups
Big's
are
a relative
puppies.
term.
Anything less than 23 inches is a good fish to target. Nothing huge. There you go. That's what we're looking for. So, as usual with these lake trout, the hook fell out as soon as there was some slack. Had a fish grab it, just sitting the lure just above the bottom. See what we got going here.
So I missed one on jig right there. And then you set that down to
Yeah.
throw towards the shore, and boom.
Boom.
Dead stitch.
Come here,
On
put
a
your
pup.
tumbler. Nice fat pup.
We've had a bunch hooked come off. So any tips for keeping them on? I mean, lake trout are just hard to bring in anyway.
So I like to, like I mentioned, I like to keep my drag really tight for the hook set, but then I'll loose it, especially if a fish really starts, oh god damn it, really starts pulling. And it's burbot number 2. Burr I can feel on the very tip of this from probably hooking the bottom. So I'm gonna use a file to try to resharpen this just to make sure it doesn't take much. Get a good part of the file. And there's all kinds of different hook sharpeners out there, but honestly, I buy cheap diamond embedded nail files. And then one of the things I do, make sure if you're trying to pull your hook across your back of your hand, it just sticks immediately. It doesn't slide. You know you have a good sharp hook.
You told me we were leaving, and then what's this? I reeled up, and then you
I just
sandbagged
had
me
to
or
get
what?
this little puppy that was down there whacking the lure 3 or 4 times and finally got a hook in him.
So yeah, important to note, if you're getting light little taps like 3 or 4 in a row, it's probably a puppy. And I would put this one in the puppy category.
Puppy, and that fish right there, on an annual basis, 15% of its diet's going to be kokanee.
Rob was complaining I was catching too many fish. Call me the lake trout king for just a moment.
I lasso my fish.
And then he's like, enough of that, I'm gonna go crush him.
I lassoed that one.
I mean,
Yep.
now he's not even catching him, he's just lassoing him.
Oh, I caught him
That's
with the
just
little
showing
one, and the big hook lassoed his tail. When they're actually up in the shallows, it's pretty regular bite. We're not seeing that today. We've gotten a few out from the shore in 20, 30 foot of water, but we haven't gotten anything so far that's like right on shore.
Summarize it, throwing up tight to the bank, even though we're not getting them tight to the bank this morning. Working it down the rocks, kind of like a slinky falling down the rocks. All the way back to the boat, yeah? You're not like speeding it up at any point?
A lot of times when I get to like where I'm at now, I'm over deep water, I'm gonna go ahead and reel in and make another cast.
So the battery died. And Rod's like, I'm gonna catch one while the battery died, and he did. So yeah, you say you're out about 20, 30 feet again?
Yep, in the 20, 30 foot, maybe 40 foot deep, and it was just falling and I just felt that little punk, a little heavy. And I put the meat to him. Through the mid-November, this is what you're gonna catch a lot of, are these males, because a lot of the females have already spawned and have left. So you're left with these colorful males. I can't get the color.
Huge shout out to Rob. He's going to show us how he likes to skin his small lake trout. This is pretty unique, pretty cool. If you want to can them, this is a great way to do it.
So I'm going to make a little cut just behind the head with whatever knife I have. And I've got skinning pliers I could use on a catfish. I'm just going to grab that and keep pulling. And when you're skinning down, you don't have to cut all the way around because it's going to tear just like that around the belly. It's important that you go to opposite sides, just work it down. Velvet girdle's that hardest part. Get down to the tail. Cut that off. Now I've got this carcass. If I was gonna tan these, eventually I'd pull the fins, but for today all we're trying to do is get these broke down. Now I'm gonna go back through, just barely through that vertebrae column. Now when I peel down, I'm gonna basically gut the fish, except for that air bladder here. But you end up with a nice hunk of meat on these small fish, and you could fry this. These could be canned. You could throw that on the smoker. Just pull those fins at a later time. Right now, again, just trying to break these down and get them on ice again.
Well, if you made it this far, we really appreciate it. Thanks for watching. If you make it up here to Flaming Gorge soon, which I hope you do, please stop by one of our local businesses. They're all locally owned. Please help them out, especially at this time of year, winter time. Don't forget the Burbot Bash this winter coming up in January. It's a big help to the community and a great help to the fishery. This series is made possible by Utah Tourism and the Flaming Gorge Chamber of Commerce.